Hi everyone, we are at Costco.
An exciting day.
I know, very exciting. We're going to go in and check out all the things that you can get low carb keto in an Australian Costco, because I know there's lots of US videos on Costco. We don't get the same stuff, but let's see what we can find.
Yes, and just in case anyone's wondering, we're in Sydney at Marsden Park. That's what branch or whatever this is. I know it varies between different ones, but we're headed in and we're going to track down all the good low carb stuff.
Okay everyone, we are back from our trip to Costco. There was so much stuff that we've decided to split it into two separate videos. This one is going to be about all the pantry stuff that we found.
Yep.
And there's another one that's going to come out in probably the next week around the fridge, freezer, cold stuff that we found.
The first thing I said when we got back home was, when can we go back? Because it was so much fun. It is so massive. And that one at Marsden Park was way bigger than the one we've been to at Docklands. Do you think so?
Yeah, definitely.
And we found some really cool things. We bought some things. And so we're going to go through our top keto, low carb pantry finds from Costco. Yeah, so stay tuned if you're interested.
If you want to find out the fridge and the freezer stuff, make sure you are subscribed so that you do not miss out on both Costco videos that are coming out in the next couple of weeks.
And who knows, we'll probably be back again in the future. Okay, let's get started.
Okay, we're going to start with the fats. There's quite a few good fat options at Costco. Our favourite by far, it's on display, is the avocado oil. We use this to make our mayo and it is by far our preferred option, especially for making our own mayo.
Yeah, so compared to some of the avocado oil you can get at the supermarket, it's much kind of lighter in colour and flavour, and it makes a really good mayo, and we just use it also just for cooking. It's awesome to have. And at Costco it is $15.99 for this litre bottle, which is the cheapest I have found it anyway. And apparently the week before we were there it was on special for $12.99, so bargain. We got two, obviously.
They also have a couple of varieties of coconut oil. They have the Kirkland brand, which is the Costco brand, and then they had an Australian branded coconut oil.
Yeah. So the Kirkland option is usually the cheapest, but it's up to you if you are happy to have something imported. I know some people prefer to support Australian companies, but they had both options there. But the Kirkland one was a 2.5 litre tub, like that's gonna last you like a lifetime, and it was $19.99, and it was extra virgin coconut oil. So I mean, we've used the Kirkland one before. I think it's fine, but yeah, there was the Australian brand option there if you're interested.
Next up, there was an item we were super excited to see. They had the Pure Soul Ghee, two massive jars. I think they were a litre
each.
Yeah, so two 1 litre jars.
Yeah.
And we love ghee.
Yes, and that Pure Soul is from New Zealand, and it's grass-fed. It's made from grass-fed butter. It is awesome. $29.99 for two 1 litre jars. I don't think you can beat that price.
I mean, we love butter, but we also love ghee.
Now, we don't really use MCT oil, but I know it is popular in the community. So if you're looking out, they did have a 1 litre bottle of MCT oil. It was actually in like the
supplements.
Yeah, like supplements where they had like protein powders and magnesium supplements and all that type of thing. It wasn't with the other kind of oils in the kind of pantry section.
So the price was $28.50 for that 1 litre. As Erica said, we don't really use it much, so we're unsure if that's a good price, but I'd be surprised if it's not.
It was also an Australian. It was the same brand as the coconut oil, I think. Cocoearth, is that the brand?
Okay, let's talk nuts. Honestly, they have such a wide variety of nuts. They had hazelnuts, pecans, walnuts,
Brazil nuts,
almonds,
bags, like big.
The price varied depending on the nut. They also had pistachios. They had also some like raw mixes and stuff as well. So definitely, if you do enjoy your nuts and you shop at Costco, you want to be buying them at Costco, because I feel like they're way cheaper than what you get at the supermarket.
Because at the supermarkets, you know, if something like hazelnuts or pistachios, you're buying like a little, 150 gram packet for like $8 or something. These were like, it seemed expensive when you're like, wow, that's 20 or 30 bucks, but you're getting a kilo of nuts. I guess the thing to think about is how quickly you're going to eat them, because they can kind of go rancid. So I would store them in the fridge or freezer. So just make sure you have space. But so they had raw options, and then they also had some dry roasted options, which are good too, because they don't have like any oils or anything with them. I saw there was a massive bag of almonds
and macadamias.
So, and they are yummy.
So if you're cooking with nuts, the raw ones are probably what you would use, and then if you're snacking, the dry roasted are delicious.
Yeah, and I guess along with nuts, they also had a couple of good seed options that we saw. So hemp seeds can be something that people find a bit tricky to find at the supermarket sometimes, and also can be expensive for a tiny bag. And it is something people use in like baking and things with low carb. So they had an 800 gram bag of hemp seeds. Now that's a decent sized bag, and it was $19.99. So that would last a long time. Again, I would keep it in the fridge. But the other thing that I reckon was the pick of the nuts and seeds, I hadn't seen it before, was, how do I say, what do you call it again?
Pepitas?
Yeah, but they were like...
sprouted.
Yes. So they had sprouted and then dehydrated, salted pumpkin seeds. So that is really awesome if you can find nuts and seeds that are like sprouted and dehydrated, because it's kind of, it makes it easier to digest for your body. So people who sometimes find that that's a better option than eating regular nuts and seeds. So it was cool to see that as an option. So it would be like a really good snack, I think. My mum bought some.
Yeah.
So again, it's a big bag, 624 grams. Now, some of the bag sizes are weird because it's
ounces on the
I assume it's to do with the US.
Yeah.
So they were $15.49. I think that is good. And they were organic as well. So it was like organic, sprouted, you know, that was like angels had picked them up from heaven and sprinkled them in rainbows and unicorns. What more could you want?
Now we're going to look at condiments.
Is this your favourite part?
By far my favourite part. One of the things I've recently discovered is that some of the mustards that you can find are super clean ingredients. And Costco had a yellow mustard done by the brand French's that was super clean ingredients. No vegetable oils, no sugars. It just literally had like vinegar and all the things that go into mustard. Yeah,
because of doing our clean and simple reset, we were looking for options that didn't have like sugar and vegetable oils and soy and whatnot. And that can be tricky to find in a mustard. We were very surprised that it was that like real American style yellow mustard is actually really good. And they had 2 massive bottles in a pack. Like it would last you a lifetime.
We didn't even buy it because I don't think we would consume it. So the bottles were 850 grams for 2 bottles. Like that's nuts.
Yes. So over 1.5 kilos of
it's
mustard.
Nuts. And the price was $7.69 for those 2 massive bottles of mustard. I mean, if you like hot dogs as much as me, you might want to get them.
But it is a really good option to have with sausages and steak and meat, rather than turning to, if you're used to having like a sweet kind of tomato or barbecue sauce, it's a really good kind of clean alternative that's not giving you that sweet flavour all the time.
Yeah. Okay, look at these guys. Salsa.
Now, all the salsa that you could ever need in your life.
Again, quite a large thing of salsa. So they are 1.08 kilos per thing. So it's over 2 kilos of salsa here. The strength is medium. I didn't see whether they had different kind of. I think it was just the medium.
But what I thought was awesome about it is that it's organic. That is one thing that I love about Costco. They do have a good range. In the US, it's much better, but in Australia, they still do have some organic products. And in Australia, it's quite expensive to buy organic, but at Costco, it can make it affordable, I think. And I just thought, this is such a good option. It had pretty clean ingredients, organic. I thought that would be awesome just to chuck it in the slow cooker with some chicken thighs or something for an easy dinner. Or you could obviously have it with your taco salad or whatever. I just think it was a good option.
Any Mexican stuff we make, we would tend to pair it with a little bit of salsa and guacamole. So this is a great option. They're $11.49 for the 2-pack. Which I think is also a bargain. Oh, and the carbs. So the carbs are 2 grams per 30 grams.
So it has tomato and onion and whatnot, which are carby type things. I was excited to see red boat fish sauce, which is like the only kind of clean fish sauce that I know of. If you find fish sauce at the supermarket, it quite often has quite a bit of sugar in it, but there's not really an alternative. And you're using a small amount, so we tend to not worry about it. But if you're looking for a super clean fish sauce option, the red boat fish sauce, which I've only ever seen in the US and at Costco, is available now. And the ingredients is just anchovies and salt. So if you like cooking Asian style dishes, I think it is really good. So it was a big 750ml bottle, I guess the ones you get at the supermarket.
Yeah, tiny.
And it was $14.49. I was very excited to see that.
Now, we mentioned condiments as my thing. Next up, pickles, which is kind of like I don't know. We're putting it in the condiment section anyway.
Condiments?
I really like pickles. I usually choose a brand in the health food section at Woolies, but they had a couple of really good options. A couple in the pantry section and one we will cover in the fridge section.
Yeah, so they were dill pickles and they didn't have any sugar or anything in them. It's mainly just kind of vinegar, salt, dill, cucumbers, pretty clean ingredients.
Now they had 2 different ones. One of them, the pickles literally were as big as my head and the jar was massive.
It's that kind of Costco. I feel like it's like you've seen it on TV shows and everything. It's that jar that's like about this big Vlasic.
Yeah, it's 1.9 kilos of pickles. I mean, if you're going to put that in your fridge, you're going to need its own fridge, to be honest. And it's $6.59 for that big jar.
Can't beat it. They also had an organic option in the pickles as well.
And they were a normal size pickle.
They were like a baby size. They called them baby, but those ones down there.
The jar was 1.36 kilos.
And it was $7.99. Yeah. Organic, like a massive jar of organic pickles. It's a winner.
Now, this is definitely one of my favourite. We've bought this every time we go to Costco. So, it's Farmer Joe's. It's Paleo granola. So, the ingredients do include honey. So, all of these, we're going to stipulate a kind of choose your own adventure in terms of ingredients. These are just things that we will include in our diet. We don't eat this all the time. We also don't eat it like a cereal. We eat it more like a topper. So we might put a little bit on top of some yogurt or some chia pudding or that kind of thing. The carbs on this are 5.5 for 50 grams, and I doubt we would put 50 grams as a topper.
It's a pretty generous serve. You know, sometimes on granolas it's like, 10 grams.
Yeah.
But this is a kilo bag, guys. Like, this, honestly, for $20 is the best value you're going to see for a paleo type granola, because it is chock-a-block with nuts and seeds.
Yeah.
So highly recommend, one of our top picks for sure from Costco. We love Farmer Joe's. They're a great Australian company. And they have some other flavors of paleo granola that you can buy on their website. But this is the Costco original.
And it's what you can get at Costco, which is the whole point of this video.
So another 2 Kirkland products that we think are really good options at Costco are the almond butter and the almond flour. I love the almond flour because it is super fine. It's the finest one that I've found in Australia, I think, as in like the grains are really fine. So it's $17.99 for 1.36 kilos. So it's a big bag. I would just chuck it in the fridge if I was buying it because it'll last a long time. But yeah, it is awesome. I think it's a really good option. They did also have, I think, Nuts for Life, another Australian brand there that was more like the regular style almond meal you would get at the supermarket.
More coarse.
A little, not slightly, like negligible, but it's also a bit more expensive. So the Kirkland one on price and texture, I think, wins.
So the almond butter, that you looked at that was just almonds and salt, or just almonds?
I think it was just almonds.
It didn't have any like vegetable oil or anything added to it.
It's a big jar. I think it's 765 grams.
Yeah.
Like, it's a big jar.
For $11.
Yeah, so that it's a good find. I think.
Again,
almond, you don't even get the macro one. It's probably like $8 or $9 for this tiny jar. This is lasting you.
We would use almond butter again as a bit of a topper to a chia pudding.
A drizzle.
Yeah.
In a smoothie.
Yeah.
In baking sometimes. Or like you can use it in place of peanut butter. So if you wanted to do like a satay, you can just sub out peanut butter for almond butter.
This is probably one of our top picks as well because we've never seen this at Costco before. So this is a monk fruit erythritol blend of sweetener. So similar to the Lakanto that you can now buy at Coles and Woolworths. It's 500 grams. Now, I think the Lakanto is 250 or 300.
I think it might even be 200.
Yeah, so keep that in mind when you're comparing prices, is how much weight are you getting. So for the sweetener, it was $11.99 for 500 grams. We have never tried it, which is why we bought it to test it out, because sweetener is very kind of individual as to whether you like the flavour that it gives you, because sometimes it can give a cooling effect or a bitter aftertaste. So we want to test this out and see if we like it.
But we do generally like monk fruit and erythritol blends. It's probably, we prefer that even over stevia and erythritol. And I have seen a couple of times people say, oh, like because it's a sweetener blend, but it's usually 99 or 99.5% erythritol and then like 1 or 0.5% monk fruit or stevia. The reason for that is the stevia and the monk fruit is super concentrated, and the erythritol they're using to give it the bulk like normal sugar.
To make it 1 for 1.
Yeah, so it's not like you're being ripped off or anything. That's just how you make it, because you only need a very small amount of those super concentrated sweeteners to then the bulk of the
I guess the problem people have with it is the advertising on it. Monk fruit sweetener with erythritol.
Yeah.
It's probably erythritol sweetener with monk fruit.
Yeah, I guess that's how. Yeah.
We didn't buy any of these, and I'm surprised that we didn't, but the next item we're going to talk about is the cheese wisps. If you follow any Americans that are low carb and keto, you will have seen the cheese wisps. They're super popular. They're in all the Costco's. They have heaps of different varieties. We have one.
Parmesan.
It's the Parmesan. It's a decent sized bag.
So it's 268 grams. So it sounds light, but they're
light.
So it's a big bag. It's $18.99. So it's a pretty expensive bag. But they are absolutely moreish, though. You can like literally do
You could
this.
probably
Just,
eat that whole bag.
Crunchy cheese. You could use it on a salad as a crouton, like on a crunch on top of like a soup or something.
Or they're good for us. Or they're good for a snack.
Yeah, with some boiled eggs and some of those for lunch or something. Yeah, but they're delicious, popular, and available.
We also, Erica went into the alcohol section, so I'll let her talk about the alcohol that she found. We don't drink much, you guys already really know that, but there was something worth noting in the alcohol section that Erica will talk about.
Yes, and I was just going to quickly mention, on the way to the alcohol section, I went through the supplement section, and they had a quite good magnesium options as far as magnesium bath salts, Epsom salts, sprays. So if you're in the market for something like that, there were some really good options there. Now in the alcohol, they had a lot of things. I didn't really know what I was doing. I saw Pure Blonde, but the price was pretty much the same as like Dan Murphy's. So, but they do have it there if you're interested in buying it. But they did have something that we think is exclusive to Costco, which was Nude vodka, alcoholic vodka sodas, and it was like a 12 pack that had 3 different flavors in it.
The cost was $49.98, so $50 for a 12 pack.
I don't know if that's a good price or not, but
I think alcohol now in mixes like that are getting a little bit more expensive.
Okay.
But it was 0 carbs, 0 sugar. That was what kind of grabbed us.
Yes.
When I went on their website, it only said Canada and the US, so it must only be available in Costco.
Yeah, so there was 3 different flavors, like a mixed pack. So yeah, definitely something to check out if you're into that kind of thing.
Now we had a couple of other things that we wanted to bring to your attention, and we want to stipulate that these are probably, they're not going to be keto, but they are something that you might want to look at if you're more low carb, feeding your kids low carb, or just something that might be an occasional thing you look at. One of them is this. This is Almond Nugget.
Just go down a bit. Yeah.
Almond Nuggets in dark chocolate. So they are like little clusters. We bought them because we wanted to try them. So the carbs per cluster is 3.6 grams per cluster, and there's 28 clusters in this bag. Now the ingredients overall are not too bad, but there is cane sugar. So again, you need to think about what your goals are and how often you eat something like this. But it's organic dark chocolate that has some cane sugar in it, almonds, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, dried coconut, organic cane sugar, organic brown rice syrup, coconut flour, chia seeds. So all of the ingredients are organic, and something to consider if you're going to Costco and you wanted a treat.
Yeah, I just thought this was an interesting option. It's all organic. It's pretty much just dark chocolate with nuts and seeds. I mean, all of those ingredients, you knew what they were. You didn't need to Google numbers and things. So to me, that is a good thing. Obviously, it's a little bit higher in carbs because it does have sugar in it. But for people who are perhaps low carb and don't want to include sweeteners, I think this is a great option.
The other thing we found, and these have been popular as well, is those microwave pork crackles. Again, that's probably not something we would choose because we have some okay pork crackle options that we can buy online in Australia. And I'm not sure about the microwavable part, but they had them in a box. So a 4-pack of these crackles was $10, and they were less than 1 gram of carb. But again, it's the oils and things that they're in that we would personally not choose to have, but other people will.
Yeah, so we really, if we're looking for pork rinds or pork crackle, pork crackle, we just look for one that's pork and salt, like, or some spices or flavorings or something. It's difficult to find because they cook them in vegetable oils, which just seems like, why do you need to cook them in lard? Fat in...
Yeah.
Anyway, they also had a massive big bag, Costco style, of like air popped. It said air popped pork crackle. I'm like, air popped. Sweet. No, it had rice bran oil, I think, in it. But I know that some people who don't worry about ingredients, that would be good for them. And it was $6.99 for this big 200 gram.
And pork crackle is light, so you can imagine it would have been a massive bag. So this is the pantry stuff. We are, like we said, going to do another video next week on the fridge stuff that we've found. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. We do get a lot of requests for Costco videos.
Keep requesting so I get to go back.
We do know that not everyone has a Costco. They're very exclusive. We don't have one in Newcastle at the moment either. We had to travel to Sydney. And we also get asked, is it worth the membership, the $60? Okay. In my opinion, if you lived near a Costco, reasonably close, it's worth it.
How
because
close?
Within 50 kilometres.
Oh, like an hour?
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon even if you went there once a month, $60, that's $5 a month. Would you save $5 a month?
Yes.
On almond meal, I mean, these 100% done. If you're going less than once a month, maybe not. And I mean, also, we haven't even talked about, this is literally a small selection of the things. So if you think about eggs, meat, cheese, all of that, I reckon it's worth it.
If you've enjoyed this video, as always, please give us a thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed, and thank you so much for watching.
Bye.
Bye.